This tutorial will briefly take you through the steps of using the Cricut cutter to make stencils for printmaking or other artistic endeavors you might be interested in. First of all, disclaimer here, I have nothing, no sort of professional relationship with Cricut, the people that make Cricut. I just happen to use it, been using it for quite a long time, and I don't always use it for stencils, but there's projects that I've done that I don't think I could really have used an X-Acto knife or, any other kind of device to really make the kind of stencil that I wanted. So I'm not advocating that everybody just drop your X-Acto knives. I just think this is a tool that can come in really handy at certain times if you want to use it. Okay, so like any other project, I developed the artwork to begin with. I don't use, so with the Cricut network, you can get stencils from them. You pay, I think it's like $7 a month or something, and then you can be part of their network and have access to their pre-made files that are, made by them and then shared by other artists. I tend not to do that. I really don't like using other people's stuff. I just like developing all my own stuff. So in this case, this was a very rough piece of art that I started with. I'm going to get rid of this in just a second, but I scanned that just real quickly using my phone and then just airdrop that to my computer. And now I'm in Adobe Illustrator, which is what I use to make most of my Cricut material. I love Illustrator. I've been using it for years, really ever since it first came on the market many years ago. And so once this is not an Illustrator demo, that's the other thing I want to point out. But I do have a few things that I can show you in just a few minutes. But once the file is in Illustrator, I'll show you how that's done. You go place, you go get the file. The file ends up on the end of your, the file ends up on the end of your mouse tip, and then you can place it, move around, things like that. Once the file's in, then I go through the process of tracing it using something called the pen tool, which is over here. And in the pen tool, you can sort of like go line by line and sort of trace things and things like that. It's great. You can obviously colorize that and all that other great stuff. But anyhow, you end up making your shapes. Let's look at something really, really easy. We're just going to take two shapes. And let's say I wanted to make sort of like an organic hole in this shape. So now I'll just put the organic hole over the other one. And then I'll select both of those objects, and using something called the Pathfinder, I'll punch a hole from the top object, and now I have that sort of hole kind of shape. That's what allowed me to sort of punch holes throughout here and go through and do what I needed to do to make the design. So if you were to look at this design, you can see that the pen tool was used to make all of these different things. And then I used just a couple of squares to make the frame that would support everything. The little birds also are all independent little shapes that I just sort of drew freehand. These things I just drew freehand as well in Illustrator, as well as the birds. And so what I'm going to do, I can tell right now that I'm a little bit over on this edge here. Yeah, sure enough. So I'm leaping off to the side a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just take that particular box, and I'm just going to left align it because I know that the size is the size left to right widthwise that it needs to be. And I'm going over a little bit here. That's not really going to matter too much, so I'm just going to leave that go at the moment. And then at this point, I'm pretty much ready to take this file into the Cricut. So I'm going to export the file. I'm going to actually not export it, but save it as an SVG. An SVG file is a common vector file that's used for lots of things, from laser cutters, this kind of, the Cricut and these kinds of tools that make cuts and stencils and things. So SVG, it's a vector file. The compressed SVG is actually, I would not recommend using the compressed SVG file format because it does throw some information away, just like any kind of compressed file. Like a JPEG kind of file throws information away that is, you know, it's hard to detect what's thrown away, you know, by the eye, but the file tends to take parts of the image that look alike and, you know, throw out parts that it thinks the eye can't see. That's why. Silly me. Very simple. Let's go to desktop. And now I'm going to save that I'm going to save my file tree branch _ Saturday. A couple of things to look at here. We're going to keep it SVG. Also, I'm using SVG 1.1, tiny, basic, and tiny. These will all also kind of like semi-compress your file. So I just keep it at SVG 1.1. That's the latest version of that particular compression algorithm. And this is all fine. I'm not going to go into detail about all of these. This has to do if you were using CSS properties within like a style sheet, a web-based style sheet. So we're not going to worry about that. Just going to go ahead and save this. Perfect. I'm going to come over to the Cricut printer. Cricut cutter, I should say. It's more what it really is. And let's go ahead now. This is my old file. I'm going to get rid of this just for now. I'm going to come here, left side of the menu. I'm going to come to Upload. As you can see, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, there's something called Cricut Access. If you use Cricut Access, you have access to a whole bunch of different, just, you know, kind of clip art kind of art. I'm not going to show that here. You can just go online and see that if you're interested in it. But anyhow, this is the Cricut software. It's called Cricut Design Space, and it's just running on a Mac right now on mine. I have a couple of pieces of art in here. I've had dozens and dozens of pieces of art. I just actually changed my my account name here, so I'm kind of clean right now with my files. But it's very, very easy to keep an eye on things and sort of arrange things. If I want to get rid of something, I can just get rid of it like that. If I want to upload something, I simply go to upload image, go to browse. Now I need to go find that. There it is. Let's actually go out to the desktop, and there's my tree branch.